Thank you very much for joining us. The top Democrat in the U.S. Congress, Nancy Pelosi, says President Donald Trump must be impeached and removed from office. Her statement comes as the impeachment process enters its latest phase. The House Judiciary Committee is deciding on charges for the House of Representatives to vote on. The final report from the Intelligence Committee's inquiry said Trump abused his power to pressure Ukraine into investigating his political rival, Joe Biden.
Our democracy is what is at stake. The president leaves us no choice but to act because he is trying to corrupt, once again, the election for his own benefit. The president has engaged in abuse of power, undermining our national security and jeopardizing the integrity of our elections. His actions are in defiance of the vision of our founders and the oath of office that he takes to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Well, the White House response was swift. On Twitter, President Trump accused Democrats of having no case, saying, "I say, if you're going to impeach me, do it now, fast, so we can have a fair trial in the Senate and so that our country can get back to business." Well, our White House correspondent Kimberly Halkett is standing by with more reaction from there. But first, let's go to Heidi Jo Castro, also in Washington, D.C. for us. Heidi, first of all, how significant is Nancy Pelosi's announcement? What is she trying to achieve by okaying the drafting of impeachment articles against President Trump?
Well, it is a great moment of political drama. Not only is Nancy Pelosi the Speaker of the House of Representatives, but of course she's the second in line to the presidency herself. So bringing the weight of the House Speaker's words to push this impeachment forward, saying that she is now asking the Judiciary Committee to draft these articles of impeachment. It doesn't change anything in the practical terms of where we were already headed, but it brings more gravity to the situation, and it frames the significance of this moment for the American public. So what is these articles of impeachment? What does that really mean? Well, these are the charges, if you will, that the president would eventually face if, and as all signs indicate at this point, when this impeachment reaches the Senate for the trial phase, which would determine whether or not Trump is removed from office. And so now the pending question is what charges, what articles of impeachment will the president be facing? It appears that there is a push to narrowly focus these articles on the abuse of power allegations in Trump's dealing with Ukraine. There's also indication that they may include obstruction of Congress, detailing the president's efforts not to cooperate with the impeachment inquiry itself. And then there's also the question of whether or not Democrats will look back at the Russia investigation, the Mueller report, which recommended several possible obstruction of justice charges that could be resolved in an impeachment as well.
So what is next then in the process itself? When can we expect the House of Representatives to vote on these articles of impeachment and then send them to the Senate?
Well, since this inquiry hit the ground, Democrats have been pushing forward at breakneck pace, and this only indicates that will be sustained. Right now, we're hearing that a full vote to impeach the president by the House will be held around Christmas time, which would put us on track for the Senate starting a trial in the new year in January. But how that trial will unfold is very much an open question. This has only ever happened twice in the history of U.S. presidents where an impeachment has reached the Senate phase. And there's still a lot at stake. It's a lot to be discussed among Democrats and Republicans that will hash out what the rules of that trial will be. And of course, trying to make those rules favorable to the arguments of either side.
All right, Heidi, thank you very much for that. We now go to Kimberly Halkett, our White House correspondent, who's going to tell us about the reaction from the president. Kimberly.
Yeah, a lot of activity here at the White House, Folly. We know that the White House press staff had been huddled up hours earlier as this announcement by the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was taking place. One of those officials emerging just moments ago telling our senior White House producer, Chris Sheridan, that in fact there will be a statement coming from the White House later today. We don't know if this will be the president. We don't know if this will be the press secretary. Certainly the press secretary has already reacted. She sent out a tweet saying that Speaker Pelosi and the Democrats should be ashamed. At real Donald Trump, the president, has done nothing but lead our country, resulting in a booming economy, more jobs, a stronger military, to name just a few of his accomplishments. We look forward to a fair trial in the Senate. His campaign sending out a similar statement. We're looking forward to a fair trial in the Senate. What are they saying? The argument here seems to be the case that the Republicans in the White House are making to the American public is this has been a partisan process in the House of Representatives controlled by Democrats. You continually hear them criticizing the process, but not the actual facts of the case. It's very clear that there is an attempt to try and defend the president, not on the merits of the arguments of whether or not he committed any wrongdoing, but instead on the process, which Republicans argue has been skewed for political purposes.
Thank you for that, Kimberly Harkett, live for us at the White House.